Good morning, AP Psych students. And here today, not with more notes or more anything really, just a little update on the AP situation. I attended a webinar this week from the College Board, and they had some information that I thought would be useful to share with you guys. You guys have the FRQs to work on today. Today's is the research component one, so you got to remember your independent variable, or that's what the psychologist change, or researcher changes or manipulates, and the dependent variable, which again measures the change. And so you'll be looking at an experiment. So let's talk a little bit first. May 19th, 1 p.m., that is the day of the AP test. Okay, whether we're in school by that point or still at home by that point, that would be the time where you would log in and you'd take the AP exam for psychology. I'm sure your other teachers in your various AP classes, stats, calc, bio, anything else that you're in right now, have similar situations. So, AP tests have been pushed back by a week, but that's when you'll be taking it. Apparently, so just going with the webinar this week, the College Board will be emailing everybody who signed up a test ticket that has login information and a code that you have to follow in order to get to the test. So they'll be emailing that out 48 hours in advance. You don't need a lockdown browser anymore. Apparently that was causing problems. If you already have it, great, but there isn't any concern about downloading a lockdown browser. You can write or you can type your response to the free response questions. I mentioned before, psychology now is 2 free response questions, so you can write it by hand and take a picture of it and upload it that way, or you can type it. You can type it in what they provide. You can type it in a Google Doc, Microsoft Word, and then cut and paste, that sort of thing. Basically, one of the things I learned is that, so mentioned this before, you have a 25-minute. The first question is 25 minutes. Okay, and then there's a 5-minute upload period, and then the second question starts. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind as you're working on these FRQs like today's. You only have a set amount of time, and the first question is going to be the concept question. So the first question is the Natasha and Gary were at an amusement park. How would these terms apply? And that's going to have 8 concepts on it. So it's actually one longer than the ones I've been giving you guys recently. So there'll be 8 concepts. Talk about, okay, approach conflict, but you define it. Each decision results in a net positive. Each decision is a win-win. And then explain an example. That's the define and apply. The one thing that's interesting, with it being only 25 minutes for 8 terms, basically it's 3 minutes per term. Some of you guys write pretty fast. Some of you guys think about it a little longer, and that's okay. One thing the College Board is allowing is that you can look things up. You can look things up on your phone. You can look things up on Google and things like that. The problem is with only 8 terms in 25 minutes, the more time you have to spend looking things up, the less time you have writing. So that's something to keep in mind. They want you to be as prepared. I think you should prepare as you normally would. Look at your vocab, review this, do the reviews that I've been sending you guys, watch the review videos. But the more time you have to spend looking things up, the less time you have to write. So that's something to consider, as you're prepping for the test. Hopefully, obviously there's probably going to be 1 or 2 terms like, geez, I don't remember this at all. Don't feel bad about looking those up, but that does eat into your writing time. So that's something to keep in mind. So you have 25 minutes for the first question, the concept, 8 tasks. Then there's an upload period where you would upload through, taking a picture with your phone or through Microsoft Word, Google Docs, things like that. You'd upload it, and then the second question starts. And the second question, you only have 15 minutes. And the second question is a lot like the one you'll see today. It's research-based, where they're going to explain an experiment to you guys, and then you have to answer a bunch of questions about the experiment, maybe some new vocab, things like that. Like today, the experiment's all about you're looking at incomplete shapes, and some people get feedback on it, some people don't. How does the feedback influence how correct they are, things like that. So, knowing things like independent variable, dependent variable, operational definition, control group, experimental group, all the stats stuff. Like today, statistical significance comes in on the experiment. So it's really more of a Unit 1 type of question. You only have 15 minutes for that question. So they're going to have 6 tasks, like 6 vocab words you have to identify or talk about in terms of the experiment, and you only have 15 minutes. So really, they're definitely pushing it as far as time. You have a limited amount of time to answer this stuff. So like I said, looking things up is fine, but that does take a huge chunk of time away from when you could be writing. So that's something to keep in mind, and then you upload it. So first question, concept question, vocab words, 25 minutes, it's 60%. Second question, research methods, that's 40%, and you only get 15 minutes for that. Okay, and I think that's really it as far as new announcements and things like that. Try to keep one thing to remember. If you're taking the test, you go through this, you log in, you take the test. If you've decided not to take the test after signing up, what you have to do now is when that May 19th date comes, you just don't take the test. You don't log in. And then the College Board will start processing your refund, and the school will send you a refund check, or the College Board. Somebody will send you a refund check. But the thing for you to do is just you don't log into AP Classroom or whatever website the College Board is going to be using. You don't take the test. So if you're still taking the test, do your thing. May 19th, get ready. I guess that's basically a little more than a month from today. And then if you're not taking the test, you don't log in. You really, you keep doing the things you're doing in class, keep doing the FRQs, keep doing the assignments I hand out, but you just don't take the test. Okay, so if there are any questions, send me an email. I'll be happy to help. Otherwise, have a good weekend. Enjoy shoveling your driveways, and I'll see you next week.